On the Hill right now, obviously there has got to be a stunning reaction to what we've seen in the last 24 hours. How difficult a position does this put the Biden administration in right now, when on the one hand you've got Republican leaders calling Joe Biden a weak leader, and then also this small fact that on September 11th, the United States had released $6 billion to Iran as part of a hostage exchange program. The timing on this couldn't have been any worse.
Yeah, it's terrible. And one of the real tragedies, obviously a tremendous tragedy of loss of human life and what's going on there. But as of last week, we were getting close to a deal with the Saudis recognizing Israel. I mean, one of the great breakthroughs in the Middle East in the last 50 years. And the Biden people were seeing this, a number of members of Congress, this was going to be close. The details were being worked out. And all of a sudden, we're 180 degrees opposite. It's just stunning, I think, that we were this close to a great deal, and now we have something really horrible going on.
You pointed out something in the break just now that I think is incredibly important about Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor. Yeah. Tell people what that was and why that might indicate that maybe this administration doesn't quite have its finger on the pulse of what's going on in the Middle East.
Well, he has said, very recently, he said the Mideast is as calm as it's been. I mean, there was a sense of that this is, a whole new world there, and this truly came out of the blue, that no one saw this coming. The Israelis obviously shocked with all of their intelligence, but our intelligence had no idea this was coming. And you can see that because of the way the administration had been acting. They thought they were going to fix everything in the Middle East. It was going to be one of their big campaign issues for sure. This was going to be a signature accomplishment for Biden, and now it's gone completely the other way. And the question of how bad it gets, will this completely unravel this deal with the Saudis and the other Arab governments or not? Literally day by day, that's what people are trying to figure out. How much do the Israelis respond? How bad is it? It's almost not in their interest to respond too badly. So you've got an incredibly complicated situation there.
All right, let's turn our attention to what's going on the Hill right now. Steve Scalise, the majority leader for the Republicans, and Jim Jordan, who's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, both have presented themselves now as candidates for Speaker of the House. Yeah. Obviously, one of these people are going to emerge as Speaker, but we don't even know if it's either one of them at this point, because a lot of times these Speaker races do have surprise candidates come up as kind of middle of the road, if there is such a thing right now. What do you make of this? This is unprecedented right now.
Yeah, well, and part of it is the rules that the Republicans have put in place. They have tied their hands behind their back. In a normal circumstance, they would do the vote, somebody would gain, more support and they'd have it. But they have this situation where they need 218 votes. Then they have the one vote to allow the chair to be vacated. The question is, was this all about McCarthy, a personal vendetta, and could these rules be changed? Because if that doesn't happen, I think you're in gridlock again.
There is a question right now about where the heart of these Republicans is. Is it with Jim Jordan, who, oh, by the way, just got the endorsement of former President Donald Trump, or is it with Steve Scalise, who has some pretty strong conservative credentials himself? So is this a question on how MAGA the Republicans are right now?
Well, it's a part of it. Scalise is a strong candidate. He's an institutionalist. He's raised tons of money for the Republicans. People know him. He's a good guy. He has this heroic story of being shot. So in a normal circumstance, I think he would be your leading contender. It would be, things would just flow his way.
We're not in a normal circumstance right now. Yeah.
My question is, do the Democrats come in? At some point, I think the Democrats have to come in. They were certainly not going to back McCarthy, but Scalise, to make a deal and get some Democratic votes for Scalise seems to me the only way out of this right now, unless they change the rules.
We asked Congressman Ivey about this just a moment ago. We've seen unprecedented things happen in unprecedented ways right now. It's not out of the realm of possibility that there might be some Republicans who are just fed up with all of it. Could Hakeem Jeffries emerge out of all of this?
I can't see that, but I could see, and I thought Ivey was good on that point where he said this is mostly about McCarthy. Neither side trusted him. I mean, even Matt Gaetz has said he might recede that rule of the one vote because in his mind it was all about McCarthy. McCarthy was just an incredibly radioactive character there. Scalise is the opposite of that, and I think Jordan is also pretty radioactive. I don't want to be, I'm not picking sides here or favorites, but he's in a different category. The Democrats could work with Scalise, and they have to, and ultimately the White House has to.
Brian Kelly from U.S. News and World Report, the editorial director and executive vice president of the news organization. We appreciate you, as always, Brian, coming in with sharing your expertise and analysis with us.